Hey everyone, Mr. Say here. This is a guide for Sainte-Croix A in reverse with the Nissan GT-R GT3, and let's get this started by mentioning that the brake balance is at +2 or 2 to the rear. And this is for a bit more rotation on this car since this car is a bit of a brick. But this car is also really fast here, which is why we'll be using it, and your first braking point is just before you reach the 100-meter board. Brake hard for a short while and gradually transition over from the braking to the throttle. And you want to take advantage of the whole width of the track because this track is pretty wide. Then bring yourself towards the left, and your next braking point is just as the shadow starts, so just before the 100-meter board, similar to the first turn where you brake hard for a short while and gradually transition over from the braking to the throttle. Bring yourself towards the right and turn in just before the barrier on the right starts, but go flat out. Don't go for the apex until you're pointing towards these total signs. So once you see these signs, that's when you go for the apex and do little lifts off of the throttle. Bring yourself towards the left and brake right at the 150-meter board. So this is just before the barrier on the left starts. Brake hard for a while. Take advantage of the apexes. But you need to be extremely careful with the throttle input, especially on a car like the Nissan GT-R, as it's very easy to lose control here. So just try to be nice and gentle through here, as that chicane is crucial to getting a good lap time. Bring yourself towards the left if you haven't yet, and look for these triangular marks that are on the road, as that is your next braking point. So you want to brake just as you reach them, nice and easy off the brakes, gently get on the throttle as you want to make sure that you still have control of the car. Then brake just as the red and white curb on the right starts. Brake hard for a short while, take your time easing off the brakes and gently get on the throttle since this is a pretty sharp hairpin. Now this is where it gets pretty tricky. Take advantage of the red and white curbs, brake just as you reach the shadow that pokes out onto the track. But you want to use quick bursts of braking and take advantage of the red and white curves so you can get on the throttle as soon as you can. And that chicane is also another crucial part to getting a good lap time here. Gradually bring yourself towards the right side of the track, and you want to look for the start of the curb that is on the right. So you want to start to brake right around here. Lots of braking control needed, as this is a bit of a long and awkward turn, but gradually get on the throttle, bring yourself towards the right, and you want to brake before you reach the shadow that goes across the entire track. So you can brake just a little bit later than I do, and you just want to be careful when getting on the throttle so you don't lose control. Now for this turn, you can start to brake just as you reach the Playseat sign that is on the left, but gradually ease on the brakes. This is a bit of a long and drawn out turn as well, and you want to get the car pointing where you want to go as soon as you can so you can start to fully accelerate and try to keep the car under control. Bring yourself towards the right, brake in between the 150 and the 100-meter board, so you're braking right around here. So brake before the 100-meter board, brake hard for a short moment, gradually ease off of the brakes. Then look for this group of happy little trees that are on the left, and you'll be using them as your braking points, so brake just as you pass them. Just like the last turn, gradually ease off of the brakes, and then bring yourself towards the left. Look for the start of the curb that is on the left, as that is your next braking point. So brake hard for a short while, nice and easy off the brakes, take advantage of the curbs, ease on the throttle, then brake before the barrier on the left starts. Nice and easy over here because it's very easy for the car to want to lose control over here. So you want to be gentle with the throttle input. You can see that I almost lost control. Then finally bring yourself towards the right. Look for the 100-meter board as you want to brake right as you pass it. So you'll see me brake just as I pass it. Take advantage of the green stuff, but make sure you keep two wheels in between the white lines so you don't get an off-track penalty. But that is all for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the strategies. And I do mean a quick look at the strategies because this is a pretty straightforward zero stop race. But anyways, for this daily race, we are doing 6 laps at Sainte-Croix A in reverse with the Group 3 cars. Fuel is a ×2, so fuel is not an issue. The tire wear is a ×6, but we are only on the racing hard tires this time around. And interestingly enough, the tire wear isn't too much of an issue because for a track like Sainte-Croix, there are a lot of high-speed sections where you're not really stressing out the tires that much, so you're not going to have too many issues with the tire wear. During your first lap, you do want to get the tires warmed up, so you might see some people doing a bit of a wiggle dance. And yeah, just be careful through the first lap because it can be very easy to get caught off guard with the cold tires and end up going off track before you even know it. And chances are that you might see this happen before you get onto the bridge. So the chicane that leads up to the bridge, there might be some people that end up overshooting the braking points because their tires are still pretty cold. So just be a little careful around here, especially this chicane. It can be very easy to mess it up. And I think over here you might end up seeing some death happening for a quick moment when I look backwards. Yeah, there's a bit of shenanigans going on back there. So just try to be a little careful through there so you don't get caught off guard with the cold tires. And since this combination is pretty new, I mean Sainte-Croix A and A in reverse is rarely ever used in FIA and the daily races. This is a new combination, so a lot of people are going to be a bit confused about how this track goes. I mean, I was confused myself as well for a while, so definitely get some practice in, because if you're able to get some good practice in, you'll be able to kind of figure out how the track flows. You'll be able to get better lap times, and you might end up getting some free DR if you end up qualifying higher because you have a good idea of how this track goes. And one thing is to be careful with the turns that have the green stuff on them. So I'm talking about the chicane that leads up to the bridge and the final turn, because it can be really easy to end up going a bit too deep into the green stuff, and before you know it, you pick up an off-track penalty. And because Sainte-Croix has a lot of high-speed sections and the penalty serving zones happen to be on these high-speed sections, you will lose quite a bit of time if you have to serve a penalty. So just try not to serve, or try not to get any sort of penalties. But yeah, we'll take a look at the last lap as we talk about places to overtake and the penalty serving zone. Yeah, zero stop race because tire wear, as you can see on the bottom left hand corner of the screen, not an issue. Fuel, not an issue as well. So the main straight is one place where it is possible to get an overtake done, and do be aware that because this track is pretty wide, there are multiple lines that could be taken here, and this can also open up for a lot of overtaking and battling to happen. So chances are you might get some really good racing done over here this week. So the second turn, it is possible to go for a move, and just be careful when you do decide to make a move on someone, because you want to make it fast and clean, because if you start to battle out with someone, then you risk losing a lot of time. And I would say a lot of these places to go for overtake, such as the chicane right here, is pretty situational, because you want to once again make sure that your moves are fast and clean. The start of the bridge, another place to get an overtake done, but the penalty serving zone is also hanging out at the very start of the bridge. And I think there is one more penalty serving zone that is coming up not too far from here. And I'm actually going to skip forward a little bit to just after the second super awkward chicane. This is potentially one of the best places to try to get the overtake done, especially with the use of slipstream, as this back straight is actually pretty long. So you can try to go for the move here, but be careful if you try to go for the inside line, because this is where the super long and awkward left hand turn is. So if you have the wrong line, then you're going to end up getting overtaken as you make your way through that left turn. Now this right turn, which is a super long and dangerous right turn, this is probably the worst place to go for a move. You don't want to go for outside move, because if you try to go for the outside move, you risk getting onto the gravel and ruining your race, or if you saw right now, you risk getting a pretty messy exit to where you could potentially have your race ruined. So you want to be especially careful through there. And once again, the wide track allows for a lot of lines to be taken, and also allows for a lot of battling to happen, so just be aware of that. And we're getting pretty close towards the end of this pretty long lap. It felt like about 1 billion years doing this final lap. Just be nice and careful through here, and there is another place where it is possible to get an overtake done, which is the very final turn. Just try to maintain a high speed, because if you have to slow down a lot just to try to pass someone through this final turn, then you do risk getting passed as you make your way through the main street. But anyways, that's pretty much it for the race. This is about an 18 to 19 minute race. It's a long one, lots of focus needed here, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the guide. But anyways, thank you guys for the awesome support. Thank you to the channel members and for Playseat for supporting the channel. So that's all for me. This is Miss MCA. Wish you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.